that.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome. And we are sitting here with Matt Tuff and Greg
Ferrara.
Isn't that what I said earlier?
That's not even really close to what you said earlier.
I added an extra syllable. Ferrara.
Yeah. Greg
I roll my R's.
That's
I'm
like John Carrara.
That's the one we get confused. It's John Carrara.
Right. You know, I just learned how to say his name actually for real within the last year. I've known John for 15 years. John Carrara. I think it was you that called him. I've known him as John Carrara the entire time I've known him.
He doesn't correct her.
And it's someone said Carrara, and I was like,
I thought it was Carrara.
That's Carrara.
Carrara. That's got mine.
Who was it that even pronounced it? I was like, wow. Okay, 15 years I've known the guy. Now I know how to say his last name.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So call in if you know the correct pronunciation.
There we go.
John's name.
I've got a rotary phone on the wall
Yeah,
right there. So yeah.
If that rings, that's impressive.
Clarify. Just type it in the comments.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, this is an eclectic group here. People wondering, like, what do these three people have in common? Obviously, we know each other from fitness and boot camp.
Yes, clearly.
Yes. But we're also just the most genuine, wonderful people in Fayette County.
Well, according to us.
Without
question.
I like it.
Yeah. So I want to just talk about y'all because I really do think highly of both of you. And I would love just to hear, I don't want to call it your story because I'm not trying to hear everything in the world. But let's start with Matt. Tell us, avoid real estate. We know you're a real estate agent. Tell us everything about Matt Tuff other than real estate without mentioning real estate. Let's see how long it goes.
Okay.
Let's see how long it goes.
Well, I am 60 years old. I have 4 grandkids. A lovely wife, and I live right around the corner.
Yeah,
that's kind of real estate-ish. I am adopted, so I am one of the chosen ones.
Yeah,
your parents had to take you guys, so.
But they chose to keep us.
I was picked.
Yeah.
Yes, out of a litter.
You did.
Yes. Yeah. My mom says the only one that was smiling. So that's why.
How old were you?
I was infant.
Infant, okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you were standing up like Andy, like in a line.
No, it wasn't like
brush your teeth
with a cup of porridge. Please choose me.
Oh.
No,
that would have been better.
Wasn't that way.
At least you're a cute baby.
Yeah.
I imagine a mustache, 6-pack of abs too. Probably that baby. He's probably in his crib.
Definitely stand out in the crowd, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were adopted, but you know your birth parents too, right?
I do, absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
My adopted parents are both passed away, and my birth parents, I have a relationship with my birth dad now. I had a brief relationship with my birth mom, but she. We'll just say when you find your birth parents, it's like opening Pandora's box. So you don't really know what you're going to crawl into, and we just chose to not have that relationship. So I have a relationship with my birth father. He lives in Puerto Vallarta. He's from Minnesota, but he's now married to Puerto Vallarta lady, and that's where they live. So,
wow. Yeah. Now, okay. I apologize, Greg. I should know this more specifically. Because you just met your birth sisters or brother, or you're not? Are you fully adopted too?
I'm fully adopted, like Matt.
I did not even do this on purpose. Yes. Wow!
So
we got a title for the podcast now.
Sure. Well, there we go. What is the title for the podcast?
Chosen Ones.
The chosen ones. Nice.
Wow!
I'm liking that. So I'm not going to hop in because we want to see how far Matt gets down his story before he mentions the words real estate. But I'll chip in on
that's awesome. All right, let's come back to Greg. All right, so you were adopted, mother. Tell us about your family.
So in my adopted family, my birth family, obviously I was oldest child on both sides, but then I'm youngest on the adopted side. So I have an older brother and an older sister. My sister is 13 years older than me, and my brother is 10 years older than me, 8 or 10 years older than me.
And you were in the Army, right?
Air Force.
Air Force.
Yeah.
And you fought in World War. Were you at
World
Pearl
War-
Harbor?
World
Pearl
War-
Harbor? Were you
World
there?
War One.
World
That
War
was-
One.
Yeah.
World War One.
Yeah, the big war.
Okay.
So
That's
it was
all right.
actually they
Well,
call
thank
it
you for your service.
they call it the Army Air Corps. Back
Oh,
then.
okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We
Yeah.
appreciate you.
So I folded.
But now you have a
between-
beautiful wife. And
I
mean,
do.
she's beautiful. And she can cook like
And she-
crazy.
yeah.
She should own her own restaurant. I don't know why you have not gotten with
Because then
this Georgia Shrimp. Oh yeah, we talked about
becomes a
this.
job.
It becomes a
because
job.
it becomes a job.
Yeah.
It is definitely a gift and a talent she has, and the blessings that come out of that kitchen are absolutely amazing. So, just like her,
Yeah.
she is definitely my blessing.
Come to speak of, there hasn't been a lot of blessings in the refrigerator lately. What's
So,
going on?
To explain that, David,
the
David
cupboard
has-
is bare lately.
David has his own refrigerator in our garage.
Oh, okay.
And so we will, if there's extra, we will put a little helping out there for
I get a
for
little
our
text. says,
adopted
check the fridge.
for our
Right.
adopted neighbor,
Yeah.
Right.
and it just miraculously disappears.
Yeah.
Usually, it has something to do with chocolate chip cookies,
Right.
which are
Right.
amazing.
Yes.
So I have two daughters, and ages are going to kill me. I think 38 and 35 or 3, something like that.
Right.
And then 2 stepsons. One just turned 30, and the other one is 21 or 22, senior at Auburn. So, and that's about it. Spend my days doing my craft.
I knew it. You lost. That's
Right.
it.
No,
You
that
lost.
was good. That was good.
Yeah. So how did being adopted affect you as a parent, like, and as a grandparent? Like,
Ooh.
can you even tell the difference? Like, are you like, I don't know, like emotionally, like, I'm making sure I'm here. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
is there an extra emphasis on being a
it truly
present
does.
person?
Honestly, the
Good question.
older I get, because the at the beginning or the early parts of being a dad and stuff, I was so career focused, and just unfortunately didn't spend. Now that you look back, you're like, man, I should have spent more time. There was a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas with that, and then you try to make up for that as being grandparent. And again, doesn't you spend a lot of time just trying to put potatoes on the plate. But I'm very, very fortunate that everybody is local. Everybody's local, so
that is good.
can pick them up after school and run to the fishing pond and do some fishing, or just have them over to the house, have cousin night and do that. So it's that could be a lot of fun. And then both my daughters are in some form of my craft. So
Okay.
yeah, so we.
Well, you've already lost, so you can speak on it now.
Yes, my craft be
So
real estate.
both your daughters. So one works at attorney's office,
Correct.
and the other has joined your team as a real estate.
She's now a real estate agent.
That's
and,
awesome.
Yeah, she was a dental
might be better than
hygienist
you.
for 7 years.
Wow.
And, yeah.
Wow.
They're all better than me. They're all better.
He'll
Wow.
accept that comment.
Yeah.
Not, and the knowledge here is you can't get that,
Wisdom.
the wisdom,
Wisdom.
and just as far as the expertise.
Yeah.
But she has really brought your marketing and I don't know if you
Yes.
call it energy, just your presence. I think has grown tremendously
Yeah.
recently.
Well, absolutely, with definitely an online part of it,
Yeah.
because I am
And that's where we all are nowadays. As
I'm
much
all
as
knuckles with that.
yeah,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's taken that to the next level. And speaking of that, is the next level to that level is now I'm actually really focusing on working hard and incorporating AI into it. So
all right.
yeah.
We'll get to that because I know we had a good conversation about that. But I want to let Greg talk a little bit. So let's just start with family. Tell us
Okay.
about you. You were adopted. I forget that,
I
even though I've
was-
heard the story. And
Sure. Sure, it's an evolving story. By the way, is it okay if I'm looking at you with the microphone being over here?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I don't
All
think
right.
there are any rules.
Okay, very good. So I knew that I was adopted at birth, and the reason I know that is because I was being a punk when I was like, I'm going to say I was about 10, 11 years old, and I was searching for hidden Christmas presents.
So you didn't know at 9.
I did not know at 9. I did not
Okay.
know at 9. And by hidden Christmas presents, I'm not talking about the ones that Santa brings. I'm talking about the one that mom and dad,
Right,
of course, you know,
right.
they bring. So I was lurking around the house trying to find any presents that my parents may have bought for me. And I happened to come across my paperwork stating that I was adopted. So this was all new news. And being the punk that I am, you know, this was kind of a surprising kind of thing. So I had a conversation with my parents, and that's how I discovered that I was adopted. What a great story to be able to tell people that I was.
You should have wrapped the paperwork up and put their name on it.
Right.
Awkward family moments. That would have been great.
That would have been great. That would have been great. So I was adopted as an infant, like Matt. And so let's just call it 10 years old. I find out that I had been adopted. And, you know, it was interesting. My mom and pop are my mom and pop are my mom and pop.
Mm-hmm.
And right. And then, so I always had this desire as I was getting older. I said, I would love to be able to say thank you. You know, like my desire more than meeting my biological parents was a desire to let them know, like, thank you for the decisions you made, and my life turned out awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a desire for me to share that. So back in 2018, my wife Dawn had gotten one of the, what do they call it, the Ancestry.com, you know, spit in a tube and you find out where you're from and your lineage and all this kind of stuff. So I did that. We sent it off, and, you know, it takes a couple of months, about, you know, a month and a half. And through the whole time, I'm getting these updates. Your DNA is being processed. We're finding these connections. And then it was around Valentine's Day. I wake up, and at the time, I would wake up and I would always look at my phone first thing in the morning. I try not to do that now, but I looked at the phone, and it says, your ancestry results are back. And by the way, there's this match. Pies 226, I think, was the name of my father's like handle on Ancestry. Probability that he's your father, 100%.
Wow.
Went, okay. I was like, wow. And then it occurred to me, I'm sitting there at like 5 in the morning, and I said, you know, my birth mother knows that I exist. My birth father might not know that I exist.
Right.
So I called my wife. She was out of town business, and I said, I'm going to let this just percolate for a couple of days. I said, I'll reach out, but first I'm just going to, because I presume they've received some notification on this thing. So I said, I'm going to let this just sit, because I don't want to like come in like a wrecking ball, you know, the Miley Cyrus.
I'm thinking on his side. Yeah, he gets notified like, ding.
Right.
We have someone that matches as your son.
100%.
100%. So I said, let me let this percolate. So I did. And about 2 days later, I get this email. It says, so apparently I'm your father. And if you would like to have a conversation, here's my telephone number. And I'm like, well, of course. So I called him. I was working over at the church at the time, and I called him on a Sunday night, and we spent about an hour and a half on the phone. His name's Jim. He's become like a best friend. You know, we've become very close, and it's been a very fortunate, you know, because like you said before, you don't know what you're opening the door to.
Correct.
In this situation, it was
You might not be able to close it.
You might not be able, right? You can't unring that bell sometimes, right? But this has been like the greatest blessing. So we met on the phone, 2019, Valentine's Day. We talk all the time. We talk. He's become like a best friend. We have a great relationship. He was just up here visiting.
But you just met your siblings.
Sure. So
because that's the part where I knew you were about to go, and I was like,
right.
Wow.
Right. So yeah, the story, like every story, there's a lot of twists and turns in it. So I knew through Jim, through my father, that I had a half brother. That I have a half brother. He's about 13 years younger than I am. Named Jimmy, and we've had an opportunity to meet, and we he's a guitarist. We occasionally exchange some text messages. And then, as this story progresses, I had an idea now of who my birth mother was, but there was no connection there. So on my mother's side, one of her sisters takes the DNA test, and we get connected. Now, I knew who she was because of names. I was able to kind of, through some online snooping, be able to put people together. And sure enough, she reaches out to me and she said, "Hey, I just did this ancestry." She's like, "So who are you?" And I wrote back, I said, "You have a sister named Marion." I said, "So why don't you reach out to her?" I said, "I have reason that I'd like to connect with Marion." I said, "But why don't you reach out to her first?"
That's all you said?
I think so. Well, I left it very, I'm very calculated in how I say things. But I put it in such a manner that she, reached out to Marion and got back with me. I think she figured out who I was. And then Marion did want to speak. So we met on the phone. Before Marion contacted me, so it turns out I do have a half-sister named Jackie. She's fabulous. She's amazing. But before Marion reached out to me, she wanted to connect with, Marion wanted to reach out to Jackie and say, "Hey, you have a brother." And it's been wild. So I've flown up to, that's all I'm from New Jersey, in that area. So I've flown up, met my sister, met my birth mother. And then, of course, you've already heard the story about my father. And my step.
You're a Marine?
Yes, Marine.
Wow. Maybe y'all are brothers. Y'all have everything in common.
Well, at this point, anything is possible, right? Anything's possible.
Exactly.
So I'm talking a lot. I'm just kind of rambling. It's been a great story.
I'm letting you talk for a reason.
It's been a great story. I'm super blessed. It really has. It's been a phenomenal journey.
What's amazing about, I'm sorry, but and I found this as well with my adopted siblings. The family I was adopted into, my mother could not have kids, so all three of us are what I call bought and paid for. So my sister's from a different family, my brother's from a different family, and I'm from a different family. But what was crazy is my sister graduated from college as a chemical engineer, and then when she reached out and found her birth mom, she had either 2 or 3 other half sisters, all of them chemical engineers.
Wow,
I think that's so cool. And your half brother is plays guitar. Is he a musician, or he just kind of plays casual?
Yeah, I think he plays casual.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays casual.
And
still, there's an interest because you told me some of their conversations.
My birth father owned a real estate company.
How about that?
So it's just crazy. It's crazy how all that works. So,
it is.
Yeah,
it is.
It is kind of wild. So
right.
Well, I did not spend a whole lot of time with my father, but we are very similar, and it's freaky too.
Right.
Like just personality wise, and it's shocking.
Yeah, if you put a picture, my birth dad he's slick bald, no hair, but if you put, as far as smiling wise or whatever, you put a picture, it's like that's me at 80.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I do the same thing, like on my For You page, or not For You, Only's fan. I don't know. Dating websites, I'm like, hey, I put a picture of my dad, go, this is what I'm going to look like in 30 years.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
if you're okay with that,
that's funny.
Click like. And no one really does. So,
that's amazing, man. And I do look like my father.
Do you?
Yeah, I do look like my father. My wife noticed when we met each other, we kind of walked around the avenue. We were just somewhere outside and just kind of visiting for the first time. And she said, "You and your father carry yourselves the exact same way." And what a blessing.
That's cool, like little mannerisms and things like that I don't even get that. Like they don't even spend that much time together, but we'll just whether they sit the same way or something.
Right. And it's been what a journey, man. What a journey. And like I said, it's been such a blessing to get to know all these people and just love on these people.
Yeah.
It's been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal.
So you have an amazing wife too that I
Yes.
love.
Thank you.
And you have 2 awesome kids that are rock star. Well, one of them's a rock star.
One of them literally is
literally is a rock star.
That's right.
Like literally,
Right.
and his music's pretty intense.
You
It
put
is.
you
But
put
he has a midget guitarist in his band. All right,
he
wait,
is
am I allowed to say that?
little person.
He's a little person who we love.
Sorry.
That's okay.
He's one of the main reasons for most of the hits.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Clicks or whatever.
That's
call
right.
The clicks,
How
yeah,
the-
not the hits, because the music is the reason for
Yes,
the
that's right.
hits.
Sure, but yeah. So my 2 sons, Michael is going to be 25 in August, and Greg is 23. Yeah, Michael's band blew up.
What's the name of their band?
Yosemite
Yosemite
in Black.
In Black. It's a
Yosemite
cool
in
name
Black.
too.
It's a cool name.
You can put
Yeah.
a link.
Yeah.
Click
That's
the link
right.
below.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, they did blow up this summer, and what the guys are talking about is so they've been creating music, doing videos, and doing all the hard work that bands need to do. And this past summer, what was amazing, the reason they literally blew up very quickly. So their bass player Cody, we love Cody. Cody is a little person, and they put out this video in black and white of their song Cold Shoulder. And then somebody commented that Cody, that the bass amp was taller than Cody, right? And the thing with social media, it's engagement. It's not whether or not somebody loves it, whether they love it or hate it. If they engage with it,
Like, comment, please.
all of that. So people started kind of clowning on Cody, but they also noticed that like Cody is a little person, but the sound that he makes on that bass, the dude kills.
It's unbelievable.
He kills.
I love it.
So people started commenting, and then the video started getting some traction.
Yeah.
And they literally blew up in about a 3-day period.
Yeah.
And they just finished a international. They were up in Canada. They did a 7-week run.
So this is another one because it was his birthday last year that they did a whole cross country tour.
That's right. So this I think was their 3rd tour, and this video blowing up got them a lot of attention. They have a great label here in the Atlanta area that they've signed with, and they're playing. They got invited to play Copenhagen. I guess it's a big metal festival over in Copenhagen.
Will they play my Christmas party this year?
You know what? We will ask them.
They could. That would be fun if they played like really hard Christmas carols. Like they could rock them out.
Sure. They were playing house shows for a while here in Atlanta. You get 100 people in a house doing heavy metal music, and I would not have wanted to have been in those.
No, we'll be in the backyard.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they could like rock out Jingle Bells or something. But yeah.
Yeah.
So Mike's a rock star. Greg is a diesel mechanic, and he's a hoss. Greg is a hoss now. He like holds the trucks up as he fixes them. So
That's
I'm really
awesome.
proud of both my sons.
And, you were telling me about what were you saying about something about him working and his. Oh, I can't remember what you were talking about that because my son Aiden is doing kind of the same thing. He's looking for that as potential career path.
Gotcha.
He also wants to work for the sheriff's department or something like that. So
Okay.
he's tossed up, but I guess I just understand how difficult work that is.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were telling me some of the heavy work with those bigger vehicles that he was doing.
Yes.
I was like, that's really awesome.
It's impressive. It's really impressive. And what we all want for our kids, right, is that we want to see them operating their gifts. Like we're all kind of wired, like you were talking about before. We talked about like your birth father is owns real estate. We kind of have these wirings, these gifts in us, and we want to see our kids using their gifts and contributing to the world.
Absolutely. Where is he working?
So he's over at a local Dodge dealership over in Noonan.
Okay.
So if you have a Dodge vehicle and you want to have Big Greg work on it, man, bring it by.
I was a diesel mechanic in between Delta and Northwest.
Oh, wow.
And it was at Atlanta Freightliner.
Okay.
In Morrow on 75.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
I didn't know you had those skills, man. That's cool.
I actually am certified in anything that runs on fuel.
Very good. Very good.
I don't even change my oil anymore. I don't care.
Right on. Yeah.
I can do pretty much.
Sure.
I know when they're lying to me. We'll put it that way. Okay.
All right. Good skills to have. Good skills to have.
But yeah, so it's that's hard work.
It is.
It's definitely hard work.
For sure.
All right, Matt. So and again, we're avoiding talking about real estate because everybody knows all the answers, and we'll probably circle to, hey, what's going on and all that. But the most impressive thing I think about you is that I feel like I've known you really well, not just known you, but known you well on a really, a good friend level for years. And it was at least 2 or 3 years before I knew you did Meals on Wheels. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say it that way is because typically when we're in sales, we like to do things so that we can share it and tell people about it. And I know how much you hate all that stuff too, but it's still, we're doing good work and we like to share it. And it's a good thing to show that, hey, I'm in your community and I'm involved. But I love that you've done it for so long. Mm-hmm. And I just tell us about Meals on Wheels because I'm assuming they always need people to help.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you've told so many great stories about the relationships you've built and just people that you engage with. And, it's a little scary for people that, I don't want to walk into an old room and a lady poop all over herself. And I'm like, oh, Lord, I just brought you a sandwich. Hey, John.
He went right.
Yeah, he went right to the poop.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, right. They actually need help with that too. So
you
can do.
I'm sure they do. But I mean, I like to address things that are like on the other side. That might be your concern as well. You've never volunteered because I'm just,
I'm scared.
A lot of people are that way.
Yeah.
But it actually, the idea came up from my adopted dad, the dad I grew up with. He's quite a bit older. Like I said, I was youngest in that family. So, but I think the last 4, maybe 5 years, he was a substitute in the Meals on Wheels. And so when I was really starting to get pulled toward volunteering and things like that, I've always had a real soft spot for the elderly. To me, unfortunately in our society, they're kind of the forgotten folks, pushed aside. In other societies and in other areas of the world, they're actually revered and put up on pedestals because of the wisdom and the knowledge and things like that. So I reached out and started a route, and I've been doing it now for almost 7 years. And it's every Thursday. It's from, I leave the house probably 10:30 and get back about 12:30. So it's just a couple hours a week. But there's a lot of times, honestly, you're like, I just don't have time to do this. And the minute that first door opens, you're like, okay, this is why I was here today. And this is so. I have a great relationship with I call them my folks. Feed the folks is what's on my calendar. And so I sit, a lot of them I'll come in and sit down with them and talk with them and help them do still. They may need assistance with doing something, whether it be that day or just answering. I've had individuals get preyed upon as far as solicitations and things like that. So I've helped guide them through, maybe they've signed something they shouldn't have or whatever. And so there's so many different things that you can get plugged into their life. And then you get to know their family.
Sure.
Pick up a pet once in a while.
Yeah, actually, that's right. Our dog, Miss Horgan, she lived in the basement of her son's house over in Fayetteville, and she had a dog that, and I told her son, because Miss Horgan slowly, you could tell when you first meet them, a lot of times they're super, super quick, super on it. And then over the years, you can see them slowly, start losing, who are you again? I don't want to open the door. I don't recognize you, etc. Sure. So you start seeing that slipping away. Sure. So I told her son, if she goes to a home, if that decision is made and you do a place for Jet, let us know. Well, it was about a week later, he's calling me.
Oh, wow.
And so we got our first dog from that, and it was, Jet is unbelievable in our life, and so she came from Miss Morgan.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So but I've got a lot. We've had individuals that got one guy. He's on the spectrum. His name's Robert. Just an amazing guy, and always has great things to say and is interesting, and so.
Nice. You have 2 kids and Jet. Rank them for me.
I have
Depends on the day.
4 kids in Jet.
4 kids
But,
and Jet.
and,
Right.
and now we have another dog, is Molly.
Everybody.
So Jet is the dogs are definitely high. If you walk in our house, there's way more picture of our dogs than there are our kids.
Right. Right.
So, I'm sorry, but that is the truth. And any of our vacations are revolve around the pets. So if we can take the pets, we're gonna go. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so the Meals on Wheels thing is fantastic. We've just
And you can be a substitute. I heard you say that. I didn't know that.
Definitely can be a substitute.
So
You can just
if
be
you
put on.
Don't want to commit or want to try it out, sign up as a substitute. And
Yep.
who do they? Who does that? Who puts on Meals on Wheels?
The
senior
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 Services
Services.
over by the courthouse.
Andy Carden. Anybody remember Andy Carden? I loved him. Did you ever know Andy? I think he's passed away.
Okay.
But back when I was in the chamber, he represented Fayette Senior Services.
Okay.
And just was the greatest guy. Like, I always respected, if you're 50 plus and you are meeting young people in whatever business, just know how much you influence them. Because I know real estate agents, I know Andy Carden, people that were mature in their business and in their regular life that treated me with respect as a 23-year-old out there trying to figure out what was
Right.
going on.
Right.
I will never forget them people. They did nothing for me other than speak to me as though,
With respect.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love it. So there you go. A little advice out there.
Yeah.
I love it. That's really good.
So let's talk about Greg. Yes. So Greg is the music, what do you call it? What's the director, leader?
Greg is, I'm on reassignment. So I was the music director at the Catholic parish here, Holy Trinity, Peachtree City, Georgia. Did that for 17 years.
Wow.
So I was full-time music director. I'm kind of a music director by temperament. So, it's been a good run, but last year I did resign from my role at the parish, being a full-time staffer. Love the parish, love my pastor, Father John. Loved the community, loved all the musicians, and really just over the last couple of years, it felt like the Lord was calling me into a new direction, and really been focusing on songwriting, on crafting songs for the church, crafting songs that seems to be where I'm very focused. Not only crafting songs for the church, but writing some things that things will inspire me. This is an example. We all have a friend that had a tragedy in their life, and I sat down one morning and I
was going to bring that up. That was instant almost. It felt like that you put that together.
It was.
And Dory absolutely loved that. And I did too. I thought it was great. Just, I don't know, it fit, if that's the right word. It just addressed, I don't know, it just.
Yeah, it broke my heart. I didn't even know that I don't think I ever told Dory that I wrote the song. You may have had that conversation, but
No, I don't think I did. I don't think I told her that you wrote it for him or that situation, but
Right.
maybe she probably knew, because in
Maybe.
your video you say it's a new song.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just one of these things. So like my heart's very much been in songwriting, and there was a situation. Our friend's son was in a really bad accident, and
he's okay. He's thriving, actually.
he's doing great. But I thought about our friend, and I have she's kind of a melonhead. She cries, and we all love her.
Is that what a melonhead is?
Melonhead, isn't that what a melonhead is? Someone who cries often. So that's
I thought the melonheads were the people under the bridge up there on Rivers Road. That's a joke from when I was in high school. That's a bad joke.
Someone that cries a lot.
I just envisioned someone like has
with
a big
ass.
head.
Right.
Okay. Well, I've always heard that term expressed for someone that cries a lot, and like I have a soft heart, and like when I heard the news, I just kind of pictured her, seeing her son suffering and hurting, and I cry a lot, and I was like, I'm sitting in the studio, and I'm going, let me pour this out into a song.
Yeah.
And so that's what a lot of my life is spent doing right now.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about the Camino, because that is awesome. We've not done that together yet. And I am dead serious. We are doing that together.
Okay.
I don't know when, but
well, the time
before our knees are dissolved. Or maybe we wait on our new knees.
We're on the way. We're on the way. Yeah.
I know I'm getting new knees in about 8 years, so I don't know if you want to do a double schedule, and then we can use that as our recovery
we
wall.
tend to schedule our procedures around the same
Yes,
time.
we do.
So
Rachel is the Camino is number one on her list right now. So
Really?
yeah.
So with that,
I don't think I'm
before we
invited.
get into what the Camino is, oh, you're
that's
not.
not invited.
Well, that was my question. Would that be, because I know you felt like you went for focus, for like a spiritual, like just to kind of walk with God. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what it is. But
sure.
then my other question was like, would that be fun as a group, or would that be too distracting? You would miss what you were there for if you had 8 friends and then you were stopping at every town and having a beer.
Sure. Good
I don't know if that's
question.
allowed on the Camino.
Well, yeah. So we'll definitely, beer is encouraged.
Okay.
So we'll talk about the word fun as it relates to Camino. So the Camino de Santiago is what David's talking about. It is a walking pilgrimage in Spain. There are routes in other countries, but the Camino de Santiago is translated to the Way of Saint James. So church tradition teaches us that Saint James is interred. His bones are reposed there in a cathedral in Santiago de Compostela, within the country of Spain. This is an ancient pilgrimage where people, back in the way old days, they've been walking these trails for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, since I think the 4th or 5th century. Okay, so there are numerous Camino paths with different names depending on where they start. My sons and I, in 2018, walked the Camino Frances that begins, obviously, in France, and we made our way. That particular route is 500 miles or 800 kilometers, and there are tens of thousands of people that walk this pilgrimage every year, and it is a pilgrimage. It's you are walking. I call it's walking with God, and we're walking to see the great saint. We're walking to go to the cathedral. And it literally was the journey of a lifetime. It was a journey of a lifetime. There's a great movie with Martin Sheen and Emilio Estevez, called The Way.
We watched that. Yeah.
And it is, that movie is what I was unaware of the Camino, even being like very invested in my faith in the Catholic Church. I was not aware of this pilgrimage. Father John, my pastor, and my boss, in 2011, when he came in, he started doing these pilgrimages to different places. And he caught me in the hallway on a Tuesday, and he said, "Hey, do you want to go to Washington, D.C. with our senior ministry on a pilgrimage?" And I thought, you can do a pilgrimage to Washington, D.C.? I didn't know, but there are cathedrals.
Needs to be done.
It needs to be. Well, maybe that should be.
We need to have a few more.
We need to promote this.
We need a pilgrimage out of Washington.
Maybe that's the way.
Be careful. The last one, a lot of people ended up in jail.
That's right. So
not a pilgrimage.
They had a pilgrimage.
That's different.
They had a pilgrimage from one monument to the other.
That's right. So he catches me like on a Tuesday. So you want to go to D.C. on a pilgrimage? I said, sure. When? He's like, tomorrow. I said, sure. At the time I was, my sons were in middle school or whatever. I was like, sure. So we go up to D.C. We go to all these great sites. I got to see the Cathedral of St. Matthew, where John F. Kennedy's, funeral was. So I got to see a spot on the ground. So it really great pilgrimage, and I love our senior ministry. On the way home, one of our deacons put in the movie. He had brought The Way, which was new at that time. And I'm sitting in the back of the bus, and I was so captivated by the movie. And, you and Rachel, sounds like have seen it. I said, wow. And I got home, and I couldn't stop talking about it. And it just stayed with me. Not just that day or that week, but like it stayed with me. And I said to my family, I said, I think I'd like to go do this. And they were interested. My wife was not interested in walking 500 miles, but my sons were. So I said, well, maybe when Michael, my oldest, graduates from high school, we should go do this. Fast forward to 2018 and or fall of 2017, and he's a senior in high school, and I'm like, oh, well, it's time. I guess we better look at buying plane tickets and some shoes or something. And we went and did it. The story for me goes on and on. There was so many different aspects that have affected the trip.
I didn't realize it was 500 miles.
That particular.
I know you walked a lot.
So
Did you
how
do
long-
all 500, or because you can do little pieces? I know you did
You
it
can
in
do
two different
pieces.
trips, right?
Right,
Three,
different
okay.
trips. You do not have to walk the entire thing. You are encouraged to walk if you walk the last 100 kilometers. So if you back up from Santiago in any direction, 100 kilometers, you carry a little pilgrim's passport, and you get these stamps in your book. And if you walk the last 100 kilometers, you get a certificate called a Compostela that says you have walked the way of St. James, and we welcome you, and they give you a hug at the end, and it's really great.
That's what we should do when we retire. We could be the huggers. I would do that.
So you would want to stamp people's books, give them a hug. That is a very you'd be a hospitalero is what we would call it.
Yeah,
that would be great. That would be great.
Is that like a cowboy for Catholics?
Maybe kind of like the host for pilgrims.
Kind of
Maybe
like a Walmart greeter for Catholics.
Yeah, a Walmart greeter for greeter for people that walk the Camino. Yeah.
Wow.
So
it is tough though. It's not. Because I remember watching your journey. You did just even the third trip was what, 10 days?
I did
8 days,
I had
4
9,
days.
I had 9 days of walking left. So yeah,
9 days.
We set out. Me and my two sons. We set out to accomplish it in one. Not that it's like it's not like a fitness thing, but we set out to walk the whole thing. And we had a trip interruption. My youngest son had gotten injured on that trip on day 30, and
You were there that 30 days.
Yes. And then we returned home because we said we started together. We're gonna finish together. So we returned home, and then I went back in 2019. My oldest son was at college. My youngest son was a senior in high school. They couldn't get away, so I went with a dear friend of mine in 2019. And on day 7, we backed up so Ryan could get more walking. And on day 7, I got notice that my father-in-law had passed away. So I was in the mountains of Spain, and Ryan kept going, and I returned home. And we tried to go in 2022, and that was a whole nother mess. Michael and I tried to get out of the country, but with all the stuff around the thing. All the stuff around the thing, we weren't able to make it. And I was so, bent on getting this finished. Last year, I went by myself, which was a mistake. For me, I don't think I was supposed to go by myself, but I did, and it was a slugfest. And I made it. I know, and I made it into the cathedral hobbling, and I made it, and that was it. But I'm going back, and I'm leading a group. New news.
Wow.
New news. So we'll talk about.
Well, I do know that on your last trip, I saw a video. You were able to actually meet Jesus at the end and give him a hug. I saw a video of that.
Yes, of St.
That
James.
was cool.
Yeah, there's a bronze statue of St. James in the bronze. I don't know what it is.
Was that James? The video?
That was Jimmy. Yeah, you hugged Jimmy.
No, not the
did
one
St.
I'm thinking
James?
of. That was David's version.
The AI. Go back to AI.
AI Jesus
hug.
Jesus hug for my birthday, which was awesome.
I was gonna say I just hugged him before I came over here.
Right.
So,
Right. So that's really good.
Wow.
That's really good.
So is St. James Jesus' brother?
St. James.
Or is that a different James?
St. James the Greater. So
Who?
there were two James,
Okay.
two apostles named James. So this was James the Greater. Yeah.
So that means he's
They call
greater
it
than
Big
Jesus'
James.
brother?
Big James.
They call it
Jimmy.
Big James.
Big James.
Big
Big
James
Jimmy.
in the Bible is
Okay.
Big James.
Big Jimmy.
I'll do some research on that.
There you go.
But he doesn't have a book named after him.
Actually, there is.
Is it called James?
Yes.
I thought that was Jesus' brother's book.
That's Jesus' brother, I believe.
I have the wrong James.
Yeah, I think Saint James, the James in the Bible is Jesus' brother James.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So St. James at the end of this path is not in the Bible?
I don't know. That's Big
Apostle.
James. He's an
He's
apostle.
apostle.
He's
Okay.
Apostle James, but there was Big James. I don't know if you've seen The Chosen, but The Chosen shows Big James in
Okay.
there. And
I've not.
Yeah.
It is on my list.
Son of Thunder.
And there's two brothers, the brothers of Thunder.
Mhm.
They're James.
There's somebody named Thunder in the
what was
Bible?
James's
Or we're not?
Big James' brother was, and their father was a very famous fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, the names are.
Probably
Same.
James, because James was a fisherman. Or Peter.
Known as
Maybe
being very
Paul.
impulsive, very outbursty.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
You're talking about me?
Which tracks? No.
Sons of Thunder.
The Sons of Thunder.
That's right.
All right, I got some questions.
Okay.
Greg, what is the most embarrassing song that you jam out to?
Oh, like Guilty Pleasure?
Yeah, like I don't want anybody to know that I rock Britney Spears or whatever.
I got you. So, well, for a specific song, I have to say, so when Mike was on tour, he posted a video. So he's on tour with all these heavy metal bands. And on a pre-show roll, they had Miley Cyrus's Party in the USA playing.
Yeah.
So you have like 1,000 metalheads on the floor of this venue singing Party in the USA. So since I saw that video, for the last month or so, I've been rocking out to Party in the USA.
That's a good song.
It is a good song. I've been killing it too in the car.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
All right, so you play many instruments, right?
I do.
Okay, if you could only play one the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, man. So I'm a guitar principal, like that's my principal instrument. If I can only play one, I'm probably going to choose the piano, even though I'm not as good at it.
Oh,
Yeah.
just brings you more joy.
It gives
Or
me
therapeutic.
it gives me a better voice
For songwriting?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can hear, it just gives me a better voice. So
Okay.
that's a really hard question.
All right. Last question for Mr. Gregg.
Okay.
A musician's wardrobe that you would steal if you had the body, had whatever. Whose wardrobe would you steal?
Absolutely, Liberace.
That is fantastic. Best answer ever. I should just that rang the bell on that. That
You want
rang the bell.
another question?
Well,
I would like to know your answer on
gosh,
that.
who would I emulate the dress up? I'm gonna go ahead and go. You know what, man? I'm gonna say Steven Tyler.
I was
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
that. I love
Yeah,
the way he
right,
dressed
right.
with the.
Yeah.
He just had like a long jacket.
Rastafarian.
Yeah.
It's a Rastafarian
Yeah.
I like that.
look.
The top
Yeah.
hats and all
Yeah,
that.
if I could pull that off, man.
I like
yeah,
that.
I totally would.
Mm-hmm.
God bless you, Steven Tyler.
Yes. Yeah. He
You know
will.
You know he's a fan.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
All right, Matt. Tell us.
Don't
You've
ask me
been
those questions.
waiting. I'm not.
Good.
Tell us, is the market going up or down? What is real estate doing right at this moment?
If you turned your TV off, first of all, real estate is location specific. So the TV is telling you national emergencies.
We're on
But-
episode 3, so we're only talking Coweta fans.
That's right. That's exactly
We ain't
right.
worried about the people outside.
That's what I'm saying though, as individuals, because they all hear what they hear is the news.
Right.
99% of the news. Nobody wants to hear good stories. Those are all at the end of the news. So they want to hear negative stuff. But our local area, real estate has now transitioned, I think, more of a neutral market. Some would say it's buyer's market. Probably right at the cusp of that. There's very few, although I just recently had a listing that had multiple offers and I thought we were priced accordingly. So, they are still there, but it's not like it was. It's not a feeding frenzy by any means. I call it more of a normal market to where if it's properly priced and presented properly, it's going on the market. You'll probably be on the market for 15 days, roughly, 2 to 3 weeks. You'll get one offer. It's going to be anywhere between 2 and 7% below. May ask for some closing costs. I mean, that's a standard trend. That's what I call a normal real estate market. Individuals that have only been in real estate the last 5 years, that's a horrible market for them because
That's
they,
true.
they've only seen the crazy time.
Right.
All right, let's make the question harder. You ready? Look right in that camera. If your adopted mother came to you and said, Matt, should I buy a house today? What would you tell her?
Absolutely. You need a place to live? Absolutely. Don't let market fear or market conditions determine. Now, if it's interest rates or something like that, I always tell my buyers, if 1% or 0.5% determines whether or not you should buy, you are shopping too high in your budget. you need to shop in more of a budget to where if life happens, you should be able to turn it right back around tomorrow, put it back on the market, and at least get whole at very minimal. So so don't hold back. If you need to buy, you need to buy. I mean, that's just this. And when interest rates, and I say when, because it's not an if, because everything cycles in all industries, especially real estate. When the interest rates drop, you call your local lender and you refinance. And so that's that. And if they don't, they start going up, and you've already locked in, and you're good to go. And so but just live your life. A lot of it has to do. I tell my clients, when we sit down, whether they're looking to list and sell or whether they're getting ready to buy or both, the first thing that we do is sit down and I say, what's your plan? And then we want to stick to the plan. Even after they buy the house, still follow up with them. Where are you in your plan? Because their plan is like, okay, I want to be in there at least 5 years. But then after the 5 years, kids graduate. Now we're going to downsize. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I have several clients took advantage of that. And that's what whenever we speak and whenever we bump into them or something, I always talk to them, where are you with your plan? Has your plan changed? Are you still focusing on your plan? But just keep that, because it's an investment. So you make your money when you buy. If you buy right, you're always going to do well. And so that's just stick to the plan.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a perfect time to buy a house. I think one of the worst times to buy a house is in a feeding frenzy, which is when everyone, it's like they joke about, when Apple or when Tesla was $400, everybody wanted it. And then the price drops to $250 and nobody wants the Tesla stock anymore.
Right.
Now it's back to $300 and people want it again. It's like people only want it when everybody else wants it.
Right.
And people that get wealthy or build wealth know how to separate the two.
Correct.
Know that now is the time because you're not overpaying for the house.
Right.
We know that 3 years ago you were having to pay over what the asking price. You were paying above the appraised value.
Right.
Wow.
And therefore those people may be, at best case, even right now.
Right.
So, now when you can negotiate closing costs or negotiate price of the house, it's the absolute best time to buy.
Well, we're very, very fortunate because we're in a community, both Fayette and Coweta, where for as long as I've been here, I moved here in '91, we've always had an upward trend. Even during the crash, Peachtree City in itself, that's where the bubble comes from, is it truly is a protected community because it's a planned community. Coweta, not as much, in the outskirts of Fayette, not as much, but even during the crash, people saw the values just massively diminished. But Peachtree City, what you saw was people just either didn't put their house on the market or it just sat longer.
Right.
But if you go back to tax records and look at tax records, you have a natural trend, a progression of, increase percentage, a certain percentage over a certain amount of years. And then all of a sudden, 2019, from 2019 to, I have clients, in fact, just yesterday, signed a listing in Planterra where they purchased in 2019. We're getting ready to put it on the market. Almost double what they paid for it.
Amazing.
Almost double.
That's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, that's our trend. And then again, if you turn the TV on, we're coming into a recession. People are, this is going to be that. Exactly. Exactly. And that's what increases ratings.
And we may see a recession.
Correct.
But that doesn't mean prices of houses are going to drop.
And we're not. I hear a lot of people, we're getting ready to come to the 08 and the 09. That was a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's just not happening. You had savings and loan crashing. You had continuous layoffs and firings, and
you also had, I don't think a lot of people know, you had hurricanes like crazy that year. And I know because I had a house in Florida and I also was doing loans. And I just remember all up and down the coast, you kept having all these hurricanes come through. And then you had the oil spill, I believe, right? Was in that same thing and closed all the beaches. So no one could have rental income. So you're talking about perfect storm. There were storms to match all the financial storms that came. So there was so much going on that created that I think that I agree. That's a once.
That was a tough time.
That's a once a generation. I don't want to say 100 years, but at least once every 50 years.
Right.
So
let's hope it's closer to 100.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't, people didn't, there's a lot of people that just lost everything.
Right.
Many times over and haven't recovered from that. And there's a lot of us that are still standing and, but yeah, that was a bad time.
No.
Definitely bad.
All right, Greg, you get the last question.
Oh.
What is your favorite restaurant in Peachtree City?
Ooh.
Doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to go fancy. It could be the McDonald's.
Favorite restaurant in Peachtree City? We don't eat there often, my wife and I. We don't.
Or it could be Coweta, because I know you have moved to the other side of the creek.
Just say Fayette or Coweta.
Yeah, we're way out there. I've got to say, we always enjoy, anytime we've been to the Beirut, we have just loved it.
Yeah.
We love the people, the service there, the food is amazing. Really, you feel like you're a part of the family when you're there. You really feel like you're part of. Actually, I'm gonna offer that as a formal restaurant. And I got to say, going over to Matt's house for dinner.
Yeah.
No, legit, like.
Why hasn't that happened in like forever?
Well, there you go. That's a whole nother thing. We'll let Matt answer. But I got to say, going over to your house for dinner, man, seriously, like phenomenal.
She loves to entertain.
Phenomenal. She is intimidatingly good at being a hostess.
I'm just along for the ride.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm scared
Oh,
of
I just remember all the appetizers and everything like that.
Yeah.
Before the meal even came
That's what
on.
I mean.
The last visit was pretty incredible.
The lighting is even perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Like, my wife is an amazing hostess. She's a phenomenal cook. And I still find, like, Rachel's presentation having us over, like, just amazing.
Well, the fact that she cooks with a full gown and pearls and high heels, that's the icing on the cake. That is required in my house.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. So there you go. So the Beirut and the Tuff's
So many
residents.
comments.
Yeah. And the Tuff's residents. So yeah.
It's been recorded.
Yeah, no, it's all on the record. That's why I made sure I gave accolades to my
That
wife.
was
Like,
right.
I love how my wife cooks. And
Yeah.
she's
I'll
still
top that off with
intimidating.
Beirut. I think, and I don't know that they're the only one,
Right.
but if you ever are thinking about owning a restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just, I think it's just a talent. I don't think I have the skill set to do it.
Okay.
But the way they can make you feel like they know you.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a great memory, whatever that is. Maybe it's just a skill of acting like they know you, or just whatever they do.
Right.
They do when you walk in. You feel like you're in an exclusive club. Like, oh, everybody over there, he don't know them.
That's right.
The waiter came up and said, "Hey, I'm glad y'all are back," and just little things like that. So I think that's really, it's just cool. I love eating there as well for the exact same reason.
Yeah, that's a
They
gift.
feel like,
That's a gift.
So, and I'm hoping my son marries his daughter. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
They are friends. Yes, I'm trying to arrange that
Right.
because they're Lebanese as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we like to keep in the family.
I could see it. I
Yeah.
can see it. There we go.
All right, y'all vote if you think they should know. He's
right.
gonna kill me for that. We'll edit that part out. All right, thank y'all very much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, that was great.
I brought a lunch. I thought this was 4 hours.
Oh, there we go.
I will
Ready for
definitely
break.
be having
Ready
you
for
both back. You're both so well spoken and
Ah.
interesting, and we didn't talk about so many things that we could have.
Sure.
And you said I didn't even flip my cards. I read off the top, and that's it.
There we go.
So we had so much more we could have gotten to.
There we go. Thanks
Thank
for
y'all
having
very
us, man.
much.